Let's start with the first one, the long one. Envirosuits and Doobies. you know, I almost abandoned this. I thought about it many, many times. And the reason I didn't was because of how much you guys loved it. I remember how much I loved In the Meek Shall Inherit the Galaxy by Phil Paragon. I remembered how heartbroken I was when it was abandoned. Speaking of which, Phil Paragon, if you're listening, I will finish that for you if you let me. Um, and I just thought to myself, man, I've got over 300 people following Envirosuits and Doobies, and I can't let these people down. So help me God, I will force this ending out of me. And eventually, during my hyper creativity period, which kind of resulted as a way to like cope with all the crazy emotions I went through, I finished it. Um, I thought the trap on Daenerys was a decent idea. I don't think that I think it works. I think with the Link and the Geth working together, you could probably convince the Reapers that a fake Crucible is being built. And I didn't want the Reapers to win. Catalyst for Revenge and Synthesis already did that pretty well, and I wanted to do some new ground. So let's go ahead and just go piece by piece through each part of the work and just talk about what my influences were, what the themes were, yada, yada, yada. Influences. Okay, so I'm just going to like mention influences once and not in any of my other commentaries because influences are pretty much the same. For fanfiction, the author Jade Tatsu basically showed me straight up how to, like create a big expansive world and how to use the Reapers a lot differently than BioWare did. It really showed me that fanfiction could be literature. In the mainstream world of literature, Emily St. John Mandel's works really taught me how to create big, expansive worlds with like really small point of view characters. Those are my two biggest influences, and I'm not going to bring them up again because like those are the only two influences of note on my writing that I could think of. At least my current writing. Past writing is a different story. That's another thing. Before we go any further, I'll talk about how the work evolved over time, because my writing style very much originated from my time on AlternateHistory.com. When I was basically I was growing up, I was irrational, I was silly. I kind of idolized the community in my head. It was before I realized it was kind of an insular circle jerk. Ultimately, a lot of smart people there, but like very much a conformist mentality that kind of makes it unpleasant to be if you don't agree with the group. But that's beside the point. The point is that the style that you see in Envirosuits and Doobies, especially the first half with the news articles and stuff, and you even see that in my current works, that's very much from alternate history. I wanted to create a Mass Effect that was steeped in alternate history. And that's why, I changed the lyrics to things like Give Me Shelter. I try my best to account for the Quarian's arrival with the butterfly effect. Obviously, there's some liberties taken, but I think it came out pretty well. Themes. I mean, probably the biggest one is just like chaos. Like the 60s was a very chaotic decade, and, it makes sense to have a fan fiction that's also chaotic in that mold. Another theme is just like a general celebration of the 1960s through the soundtrack, through like, all the different groups. Redemption is a big theme as well. I shared Jade Tatsu's disdain for the Asari. They fucking suck. But I didn't want them to suck forever. Wanted them to learn from their mistakes and become equal members of the galactic community. That, I think, is a better fate than what they received in Catalyst for Revenge. I'm very proud of it. But I mean when I say I'm never writing a novel again. It takes too much out of me. It takes way too long to finish. I'm really glad that it exists, but it is definitely the only novel I'm ever going to write. And if I want to expand on the world, I'm just going to expand on it with the one-shots. So there you go. That is my commentary.